your technique is very efficient. I
Why
didn't
do
know
you?
it. For me, it's all about coding, all about coding. You
Okay.
simplify it, so I have to don't think deeply all the time, just to see how I can get something with the simplest way.
So let's take a look at that. Hello guys, so let me just walk you through one specific question that I had, or basically I have from more people, kind of causing or having the very similar mindset issue. So let me just walk through this right here, right now. So the question is how you can approach the program that is more complex to you. Okay, so you may think, okay, like this is more complicated example, this is complicated task. I don't know what to do. Please help me. Okay, so this let me just kind of simplify the kind of bigger task on to the smaller pieces so that you can approach this project and kind of you will be able to cut it down or put it down to the several steps that you need to do. Okay, so let me just read through one task. So implement and do the performance optimization of the following scenario. Program must display all the data elements from SAP trial system, which contains domain in their definition. For those data elements, you should find and display all the database table names and their fields which contain such found data elements. And in that output, what it should contain are the database table name, field name, data element, and domain. So basically, you need to display all of the database tables, all the field names, data elements, and domains which contain, which none of them is empty, basically. Okay, and this can potentially leave people kind of stuck. Okay, so what should I do? Because all of the tables, all of the data elements, all of the fields, blah blah blah, all that stuff, and people tend to get stuck when they need to do all of the things. Okay, so what I recommend you to do is to just pick one scenario. Okay, so that you can, based on that one scenario, you can come up with a solution, with a logic to this program, to your software that you are going to do. And if you will do that, you will be prepared, or 80-90% of the time you will be prepared for all rest of the scenarios. Okay, so let me just walk through this one case, that what you can do in order to simplify this very specific task. Okay, so we will just pick one database table. I have chosen ASU content. This is the system database table, which is present in each and every SAP system. So if you hit display, what you do, what we see is the fields of all the fields of this database table. Okay, so it starts with scenario, version, UID. There are two includes and all rest of the fields from the include. What we should do is to make sure that we display the field which contains data elements. Okay, so right now we see, okay, like all of those fields contain data elements, and we should pick database. We should only display all those data elements with the fields and the database table name only if data element contains domain. So if I double click on the data elements, I see, okay, it contains domain text 20. If I go to ASU version, it contains domain character 14, and like that. Okay, so if there was one data element that wouldn't contain the domain, we would need to skip it from the output. Okay, so ideally, okay, so this is the database table, which I know right now that it contains all of the data elements contain the domain. Potentially an even better scenario would be to find a database table that some of them contain the data elements, some of the fields doesn't contain data elements, and plus some of the data elements do not contain the domains and some of them do contain. Okay, so that you have just mixed all of the scenarios that you can have in this one database table, and if you prepare this program for this one specific database table containing all the variations that can potentially happen, then you are almost ready to run it for all of the database tables. Okay, so just showing you the concept or kind of principles on how you can think about and how you can approach this project as well. So let's go to the on how you can approach this program. Okay, so this is you know already how this transparent table looks like. So if I minimize this window, we have two windows opened with two database tables. Basically, if you don't know what database tables to look for, if basically if you are going to this coaching program, you would know what kind of database tables to look for. So just let me tell you so that I can show you what I wanted to show you is that first database table that you would be looking for is DD03L database table, which contains information about all the fields of the database table. So let's pick here and put here the database table name, ASU content. Let's press F8, and right here I can see, okay, it contains 34 fields, and yeah, this is kind of sorted with let me sort you with a position from the beginning, and you can see the first field is scenario, version, GUID, and things that we have already seen in SE11. Okay, so those are the fields containing the data elements. Okay, so those are the names of data elements. What we also need to find out if those data elements contain domains. So for that, we will look up to the database table called DD04L, and let's paste there all the domains. Let's do it this way. Control Y, drag and drop. Okay, Control C, and right here, if I go to the multiple selection for the data elements, I use the special upload from clipboard button to paste it all right here, which doesn't work right now. So let me just do it once more. For whatever reason, copy text. Okay, execute. So right now I can see, okay, it contains 32 rows, which is 2 less than 34 because 2 of them are includes. So we are fine. So these are the data elements and these are the domains. And based on this, so I can see, okay, like firstly I go to DD03L database tables, I look for the information, and basically then I look for the information in the DD04L database table, checking if the domain exists. If this would not exist, like, well, I would skip it in my select statement. Right now, if you don't know how to create those select statements, joins, or all the things, or potentially how you can do that, like this is not the scope of this video right now. I just wanted to show you the principles how you can approach the project. So basically, if you prepare yourself for the one scenario, ideally if you have all the cases in one database tables as in one database table as I shown you, then you will be able to approach the project as efficient as possible, because then you will be ready for scaling or kind of preparing the project for all the scenarios. So this is this is one important thing I wanted to share with you today. I'm looking forward to hear your comments on this, and yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.